Earlier this week, I released a video detailing the upcoming MMO by Dynamite Studios, Fractured Online. Described as a dynamic, open-world sandbox MMO, this game has promise, but also some concerns and issues have cropped up in this weekend that I was able to take part in. Well, I have picked up a rock. I don't know what to do with the rock, but at least I could pick it up. Let's put it in the middle of the road. Right? Nope, can't place it on the fucking road. Can't put it in the fucking forest though. In this first impressions video, I'm not trying to cover the full game, because honestly, that full game doesn't actually exist yet. It won't exist on September 15th when the game launches on early access either. This is simply the impressions that I got from the game in kind of what felt a little bit like a showcase for their early access with the free weekend that Fractured Online put on. This game, moving from crowdfunded to published by Gamigo, is one that I found myself comparing favorably to old gems like Ultima Online, but also unfavorably to failed games like Legends of Aria, to a lesser extent Crowfall, and Warhammer Online. You might say my impressions are somewhat mixed, and I'm going to go into the reasons as to why in just a moment. Before we jump in though, I want to say a special thank you to the very first member we have on this channel, Dupre. Your support for this channel is so valued and appreciated, and it's really in a lot of ways unexpected. When I started this channel just over a year ago, I did not know where it was going to lead. So if you'll excuse me for a moment just to be thankful for this first membership, but thank you also for all the other ways that everyone has supported this channel. For every like, comment, every share, every time you post one of my videos in a Discord server, on Reddit, on Twitter, wherever you post it, those kind of things are so essential to the growth of any channel. I am eternally grateful to all of you. So thank you so much for that, and thank you to our very first member, Dupre. Without any further ado, let's get into it. Almost immediately, you're reminded just how early access the game is. For a game that is boasting of a 3-race, 3-planet system that ties itself to different alignments and playstyles based on those choices, there's only one available during the free weekend. Now, the roadmap for Fractured says that summer will bring the new planet Arboreus and the associated race, the Wild Folk, to the game. We're kind of playing a little bit fast and loose with the term summer, as the time when we're actually going to see this new race and planet in the game is essentially like middle of September with early access. And this inclusion of this new playstyle is perhaps where we'll start to see some distinguishing of Fractured Online from its predecessors like Ultima Online and Legends of Aria. But I don't think we'll really get the feel for that until you have all three in game, which the roadmap did say was going to happen this year. We'll just have to wait and see. But we kind of have to go with what we have, what is available to us. And starting out, even in just the character creation, the lack of music really just, again, made the game feel unfinished. But it didn't end there. There's a sign of things to come, as when you're in game, there's a single track that just keeps going on and on and on, and the sound effects are lackluster and missing. Very clearly missing when you try and listen to harvesting, mining, lumber. Well, I mean, I think the sound will tell it better. Just take a listen to this. And then with a little bit of extra sound effects added by me in editing. Take a listen now. Sound design is important. Anyone who remembers my New World and Lord of the Rings Online videos saw how much I gushed over it. Harvesting in general felt very rudimentary. It reminded me of Ultima Online, but even less immersive than a game that is 25 years old. It didn't feel very satisfying and felt more like a chore, with one small exception. In order to process large items like stone, ore, and logs, you need to pick up and move these items. This, at least, was different. But there were some negatives even in this. Those we'll have to get to though at the end of the video. For now, let's talk about combat. The tutorial is deceptively easy, as in the tutorial essentially makes you feel like you have GM powers. You damn near regenerate faster than the NPCs that you're fighting. This is where I started to feel some of the roughness in combat too. There were just times when abilities didn't react the way I expected them to, and it's too early for me to tell if that was because I was misusing them, or there was just lag or positioning issues, or line of sight issues. Speaking of line of sight, NPCs can shoot you through the terrain, but you can't travel over the terrain. It's physically there, and there's no jumping like in Lost Ark, but you can't hide behind it to pull the ranged NPC around to get you closer either. I hope this is a function of the game's early access beta state and something that will be improved later in the development process. I'm reminded of Ultima Online's combat and how, while it wasn't necessarily action-based, because you would target something and actions would happen from targeting, I kind of missed that in this game. Everything was so free-flowing, which is by design, but I think that also led to some of the strange, weird things that would happen in game. I accidentally hitting the wrong things. But that I think is more of a personal preference than anything else. I have to give the game some credit here though, because I've been pretty negative so far. Crafting my own armor, the first few pieces as I was guided to in the tutorial, and seeing the visual change in my appearance, though something I personally made, was fantastic. This lends into the game design. Armor, weapons, it's all player crafted. A player-driven economy that can at times be a sword that cuts both ways. These kind of games thrive on population, and when the population isn't there, progress can be hard. We've seen this in a game like New World, when the population has crashed. But for now, I can craft my own shit, and I get to wear this cool wolf hat. I mean, just look at this. It may not have dropped directly from the wolf, but after killing dozens of them, I got the crafting piece I needed and made it myself. It's an interesting way to add incentive to kill hordes of beasties to get rare crafting items to make cool shit. It'll be interesting to see if this will be kind of like an Ultima Online type thing where most of the things are crafted, but you will occasionally get drops and different things from different types of NPCs. Anyone else remember getting really cool magic items from liches in one of the dungeons? Oh, was it Deception? I can't even remember the dungeon name, but that was a really cool thing to add in. But to get there, you had to use all these other crafted items from players. The tutorial does a fairly good job of explaining some of the key concepts of the game. I learned early on about the need to set my presets. I get first-hand knowledge of the massive skills and talent trees, as well as seeing just how fluid this can be. You get 5 presets each for your talents and skills, making it very easy to swap between them. And these can be swapped at fires. Take note here because I messed up and lost the ability to make further footage of any substance by changing my attributes in the same process. There's no cooldown on changing your abilities and talents, but if you change your attributes, you get hit with a week-long timer to reset them. Kind of wish I had a little bit more understanding of this before making it, but they make it so easy to respec, I guess it's not that big a deal.
It was at this moment that he knew. He f***ed up.
So let's confirm, respec that. Oh shit, wait, oh, it logs you out. So my weakling mage was left with a single spell and not much ability to do really anything. It was early on that I noticed something else amiss. Immersion breaking and just sad. The game has no NPCs during the free weekend. Not in the tutorial, not out in the world. Even furniture appears lacking as you enter buildings that feel more like placeholders than actual in-world assets. It looks like my half-baked Divinity Original Sin 2 GM campaign because I just got so freaking tired of adding furniture and NPCs all over the place for my players to completely ignore it as they sought out new and brutal ways to ruin my world building. But at least there was world building to destroy. Fractured Online right now feels just barren and empty. This is where I was reminded of Legends of Aria, another game that I was very hyped for and just didn't live up to expectations. A game it never felt complete, as well as Crowfall, which felt a bit like a demo. All 3 of these games have something in common. They're crowdfunded. I have been a very vocal supporter of crowdfunded MMO over the entire length of this channel. I am a tremendous supporter of Pantheon Rise of the Fallen. I have backed games like Legends of Aria and Crowfall. I am leaning very heavily towards backing Ashes of Creation, but this is leading me to have some question. This game was originally a crowdfunded title. it was only scooped up by a publisher late last year in 2021, and that's when Gamigo came in with an influx of cash. So it's probably still too early to expect that to have had too much of a difference. And so I'm left asking myself, are my expectations for a crowdfunded MMO too high? Because I am comparing these to every AAA game I've played, Elder Scrolls Online, Star Wars Galaxies, EverQuest, World of Warcraft, all of these games are the standard with which I am comparing all these crowdfunded MMOs. So have I lifted my expectations way too high to the point where I'm asking too much of a crowdfunded MMO? Now, I know that there's going to be a lot of opinions on this, so I want to invite you here now. Let me know down in the comments. Do you think that we as players may be asking too much of crowdfunded MMOs? I know there's a lot of people that just in general do not support this type of game. I am personally a huge supporter of it, but this has left me with some questions. It was not something I expected to get out of this first impressions. I just expected to go in there and kill some stuff. But not all hope is lost. As we move further into the game, I really began to appreciate some of the unique features, specifically the knowledge book and the associated ability system. The knowledge book is something I first saw in Warhammer Online, and it's made appearances in various games to a different degree since then. The knowledge book in Fractured Online, though, has a very specific purpose, or rather purposes. The one I want to hone in on, though, is the bestiary. Fractured Online has a ton of different skills, but you don't have access to all of them up front. The way you do this is a key in your knowledge book bestiary. Each NPC type you encounter will have an entry. For example, a wolf, direwolf, wolf spider, etc. As you fight these creature types, you gain knowledge about them, which is exactly what I did. I was filled with joy the moment I unlocked my first skill. By killing these creatures, each one has their own unique abilities, and you learn them by learning about them. The ability that I unlocked was a bleed ability, and I was super excited to find out that this was an ability I could toggle, and I just had to turn it on, and it had its own cooldown, and it worked away from the GCD. The combination approach of needing to go out and kill new creatures to discover new abilities, while also having a general resource pool of knowledge that you would use to unlock once you have learned about that ability, was something that I really found interesting. And it's something I hope games now and in the future will consider. It's something I even think that Pantheon Rise of the Fallen may be considering doing, not perhaps this exact way, but with trainers and different things out in the world. It's something that I think really encourages you to just explore. If your ability isn't just simply go back to your hometown and learn from your trainer, or just get it as you level, there's more reason to go do things. And this approach of kind of a little bit like a grind instead of a random drop, like say for example spells in EverQuest back in Kunark, well, it makes it a little more fun, at least to me, because I can see the progress as I'm doing it. And it's just one of those things where I know what I need to do to unlock this ability. I just have to go out and do it. But it's not just abilities that you learn from gaining this knowledge in the knowledge book. This is also how you learn how to counter some of these NPCs, as it shows you weaknesses and strengths the more you kill them. Now, yes, that's probably all going to be information that is readily available on websites within a week of the game launching, but it's still a cool thing to have in the game, and if you want to, you can just learn about the creature and see what you have to do there. To me, this was the highlight of my first impressions, and thankfully, the bestiary in the knowledge book is a core part of the game. But alas, there are many parts of this game I did not get to experience, and not just the parts that aren't in game yet. Fractured Online does not feel like a game designed to curate first impressions over a short weekend play session. Housing, cities, PvP, legends, it was all well beyond me in my short play session. I learned a bit from some veterans of the game who were kind enough to drop in my chat and enlighten me to some of the requirements like player cities, housing, and timelines for smelting. And honestly, I'm not sure if I was overly excited about how long it would take and how many barriers there could be. Barriers in time and access seem to block off some fundamental things like weapon and armor upgrades in a way that makes me long for even the 7x GM limitations of Ultima Online. But what do you think? Are you excited for this game? Will you wait for it to progress more in early access, or is this an MMO you're just going to pass on? For me, I think at the very least, I need a lot more development time in the game before I'm even really sure that I want to give it a shot. I think it may be trying to go into early access a little bit too early. But early access is nebulous. Games like Valheim have used it to great success, while others sit in early access purgatory for years. Anyway, my name is Redbeard Flynn. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you want to take a look at another first impressions video I did of a much more mature game, take a look over here at the Lord of the Rings first impression that I did. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate your time, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Behold, the most depressing tavern you have ever been in. There's even a... Are you dead? You have no... Did someone die? Did you kill this person? That's rude. Oh well, time to cook my veggies.